It is a Tuesday morning here at Parks Detailing, and we're going to be beginning the prep phases on this Ferrari 550. This is a 2000 model with a 99 September production date. It has around 20,000 miles on the odometer, and this vehicle came to us from Sports Car Digest Garage, which is part of the Sports Car Digest family. They're a very unique business that caters to the readers of their magazine who are interested in buying and selling special vehicles such as this one. They take a lot of pride in their work and what they do, and part of that is bringing certain vehicles to us that are in need of it for a pre-sale detail. This particular car has pretty good amount of clear coat scratches right now, swirl marks, more commonly referred to as, for reasons that I do not totally know, but if I had to guess, it's probably from improper wipe downs, maybe a car wash. But the good news is we're going to be using all Angelwax products from their range, which you can see over here. We stock the full range on our car care site. I'll be going through each product that I'm using from them and how they are used and how we'll be using them to get this vehicle ready for polishing. These cars notoriously come with a thin amount of material on them to begin with, and by material I mean paint. So we're going to have to be very strategic in how we go about resolving the clear coat damage on this vehicle. We want to get in and out. We don't want to spend too much time removing material, because the goal is to leave as much paint on the car as possible while also resolving a lot of the issues with the paintwork. Originality is huge on vehicles like this, obviously, to a collector, so striking through an edge or causing damage is to be avoided at all costs. This particular car has quite a bit of damage, as you can see. The good news is we'll be able to make a very significant change in a positive way with this, using Angelwax Enigma All-in-One and Angelwax Enigma Wax. Give you guys some previews of the damage. I'll be doing some more video once we get it prepped and pulled inside under some harsher lighting to really give you guys an idea of the before condition and what we're going to be able to achieve through our processes. This is the last V12 front engine Ferrari with a 6-speed manual gated shifter, which makes it pretty special. We're really looking forward to getting started on this one, and it's going to be a great result when we're finished. Starting to drizzle on us here, so I'm gonna work as quick as I can while still explaining every step of the process to you guys. I'm gonna start by using my detail guards on each corner of the car. This is to help with the frustration of the cord getting caught under the tire, not allowing me to walk around the vehicle, and it also helps, doesn't prevent, but it helps with the cord getting bunched up and smacking the car while you're walking around it. And by cord, I mean the pressure washer hose. I mentioned earlier the wheels are staying on this vehicle. The barrels are very filthy, but Angelwax Revelation fallout cleaner for paint and wheels with the Geon wheel brush will help tremendously with that, even while keeping the wheels on the car. So here I've got wash and rinse bucket, a wheel bucket. In the wheel bucket I have Angelwax Cleanliness, which is their pre-soak solution. I find it's great for the wheel bucket. It helps with tires and wheels. In the wash bucket, I have Angelwax Superior Shampoo. And in the foam cannon, I have Angelwax cleanliness at a 5-to-1 dilution ratio. This is what I like to use for cars that are not overly filthy, but still we're prepping them for a paint correction service. And the fallout cleaner that I'll be using is Angelwax Revelation. This is for wheels and for painted surfaces. The really unique thing about this fallout cleaner compared to others is that it has a gel-like viscosity. So it does a really good job of clinging to the paint. So for heavily contaminated vehicles, I really like to use it because I find that I save time and money by not having to continuously spray a fallout cleaner with a thinner viscosity to it that's gonna just wanna run off the paint. This is actually gonna stick and cling to it and allow it to do its process. It's a perfect day to be washing a car as far as being overcast. We don't have direct sunlight in our workspace and we're using DI water, so it's going to really allow me to let this product work for as long as I need it to on the paint without drying up, which is great. I'm gonna start by foaming the vehicle down with Angelwax cleanliness. You can tell at some point this glass has been treated with something. It's hydrophobic. We're gonna be applying Angelwax H2Go to all the exterior glass so that the next buyer is able to have good protection in the rain. It'll also make it easier when they're washing to get bug guts and contamination off of the glass. What I'm gonna do is let this dwell for 5 to 10 minutes so that it can effectively do its job. And I will rinse the entire vehicle off and begin hand washing with Superior shampoo. So now that it has sat on the car for about 10 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it off before I hand wash with Superior shampoo. So you can tell the cleanliness has done a decent job of loosening a good amount of the brake dust that was in the barrels of these wheels. So that's just gonna make our revelation step that much more effective. Earlier I mentioned that the cleanliness is gonna help us remove any waxes or sealants on the paint. It can be LSP safe, meaning it can be diluted in a manner that it will not strip the wax or sealant if you're wanting to use it as a pre-wash during a maintenance detail for a protected car. The hood of this vehicle is massive, which is going to make polishing pretty fun. You can see a little bit of sheeting going on the hood. So I'm sure at some point this car's been waxed or sealed with something. Looks like some sort of chemical staining or etching from hard water or chemicals, hard to tell. You might notice that Superior shampoo will lose a little bit of its sudsing if it sits for a solid amount of time. You can simply just spray some forced water in there to get the sudsing back if you wish. If you watch any of our videos, you know that we are a fan of the Cleanse Softy series mitts. This is exclusively what we use here to wash cars. They do a really good job of picking up contamination, but also releasing it when it's pushed against the dirt lock that we have here in the bottom of both buckets. I find that the pads with the long fibers on them do a really good job of picking the dirt up, but when it comes to releasing it, they can sometimes not want to release it, so you're reintroducing that debris into the paint. The Softy series is also, as the name implies, incredibly soft. So for jet black cars and cars that you've done a correction on that you're maintaining, they are the ideal solution for not introducing any damage. Some people like to apply the fallout cleaner before they wash. In this case, I think that's what I'm gonna do, just because the paint is actually fairly clean. Obviously this vehicle is kept inside. It's rarely ever driven. But if this were a car that had a lot of filth on the rockers, the bottoms of the doors, it would be best to wash the vehicle first to get all of that filth off so that the fallout cleaner can do its work. But in this case, I'm actually gonna do it beforehand, just to loosen any of that embedded contamination that you can't get out with washing before I begin hand washing the car. This is one of those things where you're just gonna have to make a judgment call when you've done your pre-soak and you get an evaluation to see how dirty the car actually is. Like I said before, it's like a gel, which is awesome, because even when the vehicle's wet like it is right now, it will run, but it will also cling a lot better than a liquid viscosity fallout cleaner. I'm gonna use this very liberally, just because, like I mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of paint on these cars, and I do not want to start polishing and then introduce marring because of embedded contamination. This way, I'm gonna ensure that by the time we've clayed it and begin polishing, I'm only doing it one time, not having to go back and clay again, or possibly mar the surface more than I need to. Should also be noted that this particular product has a, I won't say pleasant, but it's more pleasant than a lot of fallout cleaners, odor to it. So it's kind of a nice feature. You don't have to stink up your driveway or garage when using this. Kind of has a sweet odor to it. What this is also going to do is make the claying stage a lot less invasive. This will get out all that embedded contamination to make the claying process not as invasive and damaging to the paint. So as you can tell, I'm really not holding back on the use of this. The trunk is a place, rear bumper, trunk lid. We're on a gas vehicle like this. Ferrous particles love to find their way and embed into the paint from the exhaust. So I'm really gonna not cheap out on the fallout cleaner back here. I don't recommend using a clay bar or a clay mitt with this particular product. I have tested it and the Clean clay mitt will actually hold up to it. But if you're using a different kind of clay mitt or a clay bar, you might find that it deteriorates it on the paint, which is not ideal. So I recommend rinsing this off before you clay. And in this case, I'll be washing it off. So. It's starting to rain on me pretty heavily here. Drizzle on me pretty heavy, but not worried about it. This is not my first time having to wash a car in the rain. Prep a car in the rain, that is. In this case, it's actually going to help keep the paint wet, which is a positive and a negative. It's positive because the product's not going to dry up on the car, but the negative is it's going to slowly rinse the product off the paint. With these products, dwell time is really important. You want to let it sit for as long as you can. I've actually let them sit for as long as half an hour before. I find that the sweet spot's about 10 to 15 minutes. Anything longer is safe, but seems to be excessive. The thing is, you just really don't want to let it dry on the paint. If it dries on the paint completely, if it's a hot day, I recommend pulling it into a shaded area if you can, and really closely monitoring it so that it doesn't dry up on you, or it will etch the paint, and you will be polishing that etching out. Should also be noted that if your car has been protected and you're performing a maintenance detail, maybe your quarterly maintenance, we do use fallout cleaners for this. But a protected vehicle, especially a coated vehicle, is going to release that contamination a lot easier than a car like this that has minimal to no protection on it. So we'll do a video at some point, I'm sure, on using fallout cleaner on a protected car, but you'll notice that we use a lot less than we do for when we're prepping a car for paint correction. So I've let it sit for 15 minutes now, and I'm gonna begin cleaning the wheels. As you can tell, there's a lot more fallout that has come out of the paint since I've let it sit. Hopefully you guys can see where the wheel brush is agitating the cleaner. It's doing an amazing job. There's still some pretty embedded contamination in there, so I'm gonna do a second round on the wheels. There's a good chance some of that is tar that needs to be cleaned by hand. That would require taking the wheel off, using tar remover, claying, polishing, etc. Areas like this, where it's too tight for the wheel brush, I like using the Green Monster. So you can fit it around the spoke. Clean all the intricate areas that the brush has a harder time fitting into. The brush is the most efficient in terms of time. Reaching the barrels, it's obviously a lot easier with the brush. probably hard to tell, but I'm able to actually fit this towel in between the caliper and the wheel. I've not come across a setup yet where I'm not able to clean in there. So it saves me time from having to move the car forward and back to reach all the parts of the wheel. I find that no matter how thorough of a job I do outside, typically when I pull the car inside, I'm using American Detailer Garage Wipeout and an appropriate microfiber to clean any little spots that I might have missed. But using the towel between the caliper and the wheel helps a lot from a time standpoint and efficiency standpoint. It's starting to rain pretty heavily on me here, so I'm sure the lens is gonna get smudged and make it hard for you guys to see. So what I'm gonna do is rinse off the car, get all the revelation off. I'm gonna hand wash with Superior shampoo, do a second round of revelation on the wheels, and then I'm gonna pull the car inside to get it dry and ready for claying. Right here's a great example of just how effective revelation is as a wheel cleaner. It's very powerful, but safe. I haven't even scrubbed this barrel yet with the brush or the Green Monster, and simply pressure rinsing is getting a lot of the brake dust off, the embedded brake dust. On a set of protected wheels, we have a few different wheel cleaners, fallout cleaners, that you can almost get touchless wheel cleaning achieved. I've not come across any setup in terms of protection and cleaner where you can get 100% clean wheels touchless, but you can get very close to the point to where all you have to do is pull it in with some waterless wash and give it a quick wipe down. Even just the cleanliness pre-soak and revelation soak did a great job of getting a lot of that crud out from around the letters. I'm gonna definitely take my time to use a Softy series and the Green Monster to scrub in between those, just in case we're not able to remove the letters easily. You can see the water movement is nearly dead flat on the whole car, which means we're starting with a really clean surface before we even begin hand washing or claying the paint, which is ideal. So I'm on my second round of revelation for the wheels. As you can see, the first round got quite a bit of it off. I'd say at least 50% of it. So I'm gonna do a second round here. What I'm gonna do is spray all the barrels and let that dwell while I hand wash the paint. And then I'll go back, scrub the wheels, and rinse off the entire car, including the paint and wheels. We're never in a rush here. Always take our time, but Anytime I can be more efficient and save time is a good thing. It's always a good thing. It just leaves more time for the fine details, which can be very tedious and catch up to you at the end.
Level.
I can feel the paint is very smooth, so the Revelation did a great job of getting the embedded contaminants out prior to hand washing, which is ideal. The Softy series does a really nice job of being able to conform when it's wet. So it helps for getting into tight areas like around this badge and door handles underneath mirrors. It can fit into tight spaces. One observation we've made with these dirt locks, we like them way better than the standard grit guards. I feel they work a ton better. But we have, these are very old units, and we've had them for probably 6 months now, and probably longer, 9 months. But we've pressed on them a little bit too hard here, as you can see, and bent the tabs in. And what that does is it causes them to want to pop up. They still, even with the tabs bent, will lock in very nice. But the takeaway is you don't want to press down on them too hard. The key is to get the tabs bent just right so that it'll hold on to the sides with those foam grips and not want to pop back up. Once they get too bent down like that, it's hard to get them to take back to their original shape. I haven't tried using a heat gun yet, but I'm sure it'll help soften the plastic so that they'll bend back. But just a word of advice for any of you guys that purchase a set from us. You want to make sure they stay bent, but not too bent. I like to do the rocker panels last, especially on a prep wash. When the car's not protected, things tend to really cling to that, and I don't want to be putting all that dirt back into my wash bucket. So I'll go over them last using the wash solution with just a Green Monster and a different Softy series. Okay, so that concludes the hand washing. I'm gonna rinse the entire car off. Before I do that, I'm gonna scrub the insides of these barrels, get all that revelation off, rinse the entire car, and then pull it inside, start drying it to get it ready to clay.